Welcome to True North Nation. This was brought to you by Solid Rock Church in Irving, Texas, where we bring you true direction in a lost world. Now let's hear it from our host, Pastor Ed Snyder.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us here again at the True North Nation. We are so glad that you are with us again. Thank you. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate all of you that come in week after week and listen to one of our podcasts, as well as help share it to your friends and family. Thank you again for your support. We are honored. So today, beware of the beast lair. We're going to continue our series of the Control the Beast. Of course, at your request, our listeners, when we did the survey a few months ago, we're going through each chapter of the book. Might want to go to Amazon.com, do a search on Control the Beast, Ed Snyder, and grab a copy of that book so you can follow along in each episode. But for now, let's grab something to take some notes with. Let's grab a great cup of coffee. We'll be right back. Have you ever seen maybe a movie where it was a sci-fi movie and there was shapeshifters in the movie, people or things or whatever you want to call them, but characters in that movie that was able to take on the form of someone else, to look like somebody else. It wasn't really who they are, but it was their disguise. Okay. Have you ever, I'm sure some of you, if not most of you, have seen or even heard of a shapeshifter. It's that beast. It's that alien, in the sci-fi that takes on many disguises. Sometimes that alien, that monster, he hides until the right moment, and then out of nowhere, he ambushes an important moment of your life. That's what we're going to be talking about today in this episode. Beware of the beast lair, ambushes and disguises. So whether we realize it or not, in the arena of emotional health or in emotional intelligence, we've got to understand all about emotions, the way we're going to manage our emotions, the way we're going to control them, be able to keep ourselves in check, identify or diffuse ourselves. We've got to get a thorough understanding of how emotions work. My son, who works as a mobile mechanic, is not going to be able to do a diagnostic or even fix the engine until he first understands how the engine works, the spark plugs firing and the pistons moving and this part doing this part and this portion of the engine functions because this and that. He's got to have some understanding of the operation of that engine to be able to first diagnose what is wrong in the performance of that engine. And then, of course, to be able to take it apart and put it back together. Our emotions is very, very much like that. In order for us to fix something, in order for us to deal with it, understand it, manage it, get it in check, we first got to learn how emotions fire, the mechanics of emotions, the biology of emotions. And today we are going into the beast lair and understand where negative emotions hide. They're shapeshifters. They shift into something else to disguise themselves. Now, what we're talking about is negative emotions, i.e. anger, frustration, those kinds of things that really keep cropping up and keep causing a problem in our life. So here we go. We're into the lair. And we're going to explore and look for these shapeshifters, these disguises and ambushes, of course, as we walk through life. The number one place that negative emotions hide or shapeshift is substance abuse. I've talked about this in a previous episode here at TNN, but also I have done this in the many interviews that and I'm thankful for that different podcasters have asked me to be on their podcast and talk about the book, Control the Beast. But here's the deal. The basement creatures hide and try to stay submerged just beneath the surface. Then something emotionally catastrophic happens and we can't take it any longer. So we self-medicate. We got to numb out because the pain is too great. The stress is too high. I can't take it no more. And so we've got to have a holiday. We've got to go get drunk or go get high or whatever. Tens of thousands of people go in and out of rehab every year. Many come out and unfortunately go right back to the self-destructing mode within 90 days of getting out of rehab. The success rate of most rehabs, unfortunately, is very low. Now, are you saying you don't believe in rehab? No, I do believe in rehab. I do believe in a program. But what we're doing in rehab is we're fixing the symptoms. You know, it's not going after the core. It's not drilling down like we've talked about before, getting to the root of the problem. And I've got the research to back up what I am getting ready to say. But most of the time, what we're not addressing is the negative emotions, i.e. frustration, stress, fears, anger that is in somebody's life. They're angry with someone or about something. They're frustrated because they can't get nowhere. They can't catch a break. They're stressed out because they keep grinding and they keep pushing, and it feels like they're taking 3 steps forward and 2 steps backwards. So the problem is that we're not going after the root. We're just trying to address the symptoms of substance abuse, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, or you can even put pornography in that category. So what do? Well, that's where we, again, go into that episode of how to identify and diffuse and learn how to step back from point A to point B to point C to point however long it takes. So in other words, the act, the cussing, the throwing, the hitting, the getting in the fight, what triggered that? Find the trigger. And when you step back from that incident, you find what they said or did that triggered the emotion. Then from there, you take another step back and go to the situation, the issue, the event that caused the pain in the first place. Then you take another step back. Once you identify, now you've got to go through the purge and the heal. If people can get healed of their deep, dark secrets, or look at the primary and secondary emotions that are in play, I promise you the success rate of rehabilitation will go up. All right. The next area is eating disorders. I am a victim of this personally. Those of you that are listening to this podcast know me and know that back in 2010, I started a journey of better health because I was sick of being sick, tired of being tired. My body ached all the time. My back hurt. My legs hurt. I had at that time a series of 7 or 8 kidney stones, one right after another within a few months of each other. Then got hit with diverticulitis with infection. And my doctor telling me, look, I need you to tell me, do you want me to call the cardiologist and schedule you for open heart surgery now or call a nutritionist? I said, it's that bad. He said, it's that bad. I was almost right at a few pounds away, 400 pounds. Food is comforting and helps us temporarily escape emotional pain. I mean, come on, let's go get some friends. Let's dive into a good meal. or let's take a boatload of snacks that are unhealthy and eat those in between. When I was in some pain and at almost 400 pounds, I couldn't pass a Burger King. I couldn't pass a Taco Bell. I was just, I wasn't hungry. I needed to eat. I needed comfort. I needed something to soothe. And so again, in my case, it was extreme stress and probably a lot of good frustration tied in there. So I needed something. Stress and emotional anxiety can make you lose your appetite on the other side. So you either overeat, or you undereat, lose weight, but it's an eating disorder, or we go heavy into it and we go bulimic, where we eat and then go to the bathroom, stick our finger down the throat and make us throw up ourselves up to get rid of the food that we just ate. That action right there is often an expression of the need to punish yourself because you blame yourself for the event, quote unquote. So eating disorders can be a place that the shape shifter goes to and disguises itself. The next area, and probably some of you might have been a victim of this, or hopefully you weren't the person, but criticism or being judgmental. There's an old saying, and there's a lot of truth to it. Hurting people hurt people. They're hurting and they want misery loves company. Some of the world's worst bullies began when they were emotionally wounded. Somewhere in their past, someone damaged them, told lies to them, exposed an embarrassing weakness. And that can cause some very, very negative emotions. Trust me, I've lived it. So if you don't take care of this, you can quickly become just like them. You become critical, you become judgmental, or you could become critical and judgmental both at the same time. What's the thing? What's the trick here? Why do we go here? Well, we go here because we use criticism as a form of defense to distance ourselves from others so that they will not, we won't be hurt again. And it's a shield from the pain. We're judgmental and look down on people because it helps us feel superior. It helps us feel like I am better than you are, which may or may not be true. But the point is, it doesn't matter. You're you. You need to do you. You need to do what God has intended for you to do and not everybody else. So criticism or being judgmental. The next area, and of course, I hate this with passion. I was around it when I was a kid. And unfortunately, yes, growing up in church, gossip is another character that the shapeshifter takes on and to disguise himself as hopefully trying to be accepted. This is, again, one of my favorite idle activity to hate. I hate gossip. Anytime somebody comes around me and starts the gossip, I'm gone. Bye. See ya. I don't hang around negativity. I don't hang around criticism or judgment. I don't hang around gossip. Believe that this hiding place is the most devastating place for our negative emotions. We vigorously spread the dirt we have on other people. Most of the time, it's not even real. Most of the time, it's hearsay. It's rumors, but we have believed them as truths. And it gives us really a false sense of control over the person that's around us. We're afraid. In essence, we are afraid of them. We don't want them to expose us. We don't want them to reveal us. And so we are going to gossip about them, get the dirt on them, spill the tea on them, and try to feel like, hey, I got control over you. Don't try anything. The bottom line, gossip serves to make you feel good about yourself while standing on someone else's alleged failures to make you look taller. It's about as low as you can go in a conversation. It's a matter of pride and deflection. Did I tell you that I hate gossip? Next area that the shapeshifter can take on is depression. Nobody likes this emotion. We try to avoid it. We try to disguise it. But most feel that this is at least some of the times, everybody, I believe, I don't have any data, but I believe that everyone from time to time feels a certain level of depression. Something didn't work out, we get a little depressed about it. We tried something, it didn't work, we get a little depressed about it. It's really kind of, you can probably build it in the same category as normal stress and normal frustration. We all deal with it. However, pressure comes from all different directions. Bills are piling up, family issues, maybe a loss of a family member. The list can go on and on. However, depression can be anger turned inward. I just dropped something on you. Depression can be anger turned inward. Perhaps you made a poor decision that affected you severely and may be irreparable. So you're angry with yourself. You cannot forgive yourself and are very angry with what you did or how you messed up. It just brings self-loathing, self-hate, and self-destruction into and on every relationship around you. That's the problem that we've got to realize, that when we identify the type of depression that we have, it can spread to others. Now, if it is anger turned inward, you have tremendous control to fix it. Okay. The actions gradually bring on depression as we realize we're affecting those around us. So fix it. Get after it. Let's make it happen. All right. The next area that the shapeshifter hides is suicidal attempts. Now, let's call it as it is. Suicide is a very selfish act. Yes, that person is in so much pain that they can't take it no longer. The substance abuse is not taking care of it. We're not getting away from it. We can't escape it no matter what we do. So I'm just going to end my life and get out of here. That's the line. That's what we tell ourselves. Okay. But on the other hand, and I don't want to take away from the fact that somebody that is considering suicide or actually does it is in a lot of pain. I don't want to negate that. I want to make sure that you as our audience is very clear. I sympathize with that. And everything within me, if I come across somebody that is in that situation, I want to help them get out of there. Okay. But on the other side of the coin, suicide is a very selfish act. It is the ultimate punishment for those we feel hurt us. It's the ultimate payback, and now I want to clarify. I said suicide attempts. I didn't say completed. I didn't say job done. There's a little bit of difference here that I'm going to bring to the surface, that many times people will try to commit suicide and not go all the way through with it. The attempted suicide, of course, is another form of punishment for those that have hurt us. And we can get to witness their pain personally. So in other words, when somebody gets in the mind frame that I'm going to try to commit suicide, I'm going to go right to the edge of the cliff, but not step off. I'm going to try do it and them find me somewhere. In their twisted thought pattern, now I get to watch them hurt for hurting me. You get the picture. Okay. Teenagers do this quite often. They get angry with their parents because their parents is trying to do their job and protect them and keep them safe and train them up to be a a godly person, a good human, and all of that. And they get angry and they try to commit suicide. So they get back at their parents. All right, one more area, and then we're going to get into some fallout emotions with all of this. And the last one is affairs and infidelity. I can't tell you how many times over 40 plus years of ministry that I have witnessed this act. The spouse does something, flirts or has an affair, and what does the other spouse do? They have an extramarital affair just to get back at the cheating spouse. That's not good thinking. Okay, this line of thinking really is ridiculous, and it's kind of even childish. Now that we not only have one situation to resolve, but now we've got to work through two very hurtful situations in the one marriage. The basics of this act is that we are experiencing negative emotions, such as our needs are not being met. I'm not being heard. Why can't you see me? We need to, then we see what we think grass is greener on the other side. Well, this person sees me. This person is listening to me. This person cares about me. And we fall into the trap of that shapeshifter. What we just discovered is the hiding places where this beast hides and wreaks havoc in our lives. Again, folks, I'm preaching hard on this subject to somebody that's listening to this episode of our series, Control the Beast. You have got to realize you got to look hard for the places that negative emotion is hiding and strip it. Get it out of hiding. Get rid of the false mask that it holds. Confront the beast in the basement. Confront that monster. Your self-identity is battered or blurred. The aftermath and inappropriate emotional expressions. There's always a fallout to all of this. Everything that I named where the shapeshifter exists, there's a fallout. There is an aftermath, if you please. So let's, in the last few remaining minutes that we have together in this episode, let's talk about some fallouts of the attack or the ambush of the shapeshifter. Number one, guilt. It is all too easy to feel guilty for our actions in the fit of uncontrolled anger. We made a fool of ourselves. We feel like the beast won again due to an inappropriate human reaction, destroyed property, or newly inflicted emotional wounds on those that we love dearly. Perhaps someone we love and respect witnessed our actions in shock and disbelief. You wish you could stop it from the beginning. Everything in you is like, stop doing this. You're making a fool out of yourself. We want a magic history eraser to appear from heaven and mystically remove every trace of that inner demon. But as you recall and relive all the beast caused, you wished you can turn back in the hands of time, but the reality chomps into the present state, rendering us dazed, confused, emotionally wounded, and frustrated, losing hope moment by moment. When we recall and relive all that the beast has caused, we wish we could turn back the hands of time. Stop it. Don't let it go any further. We try to forget it, but it just keeps replaying in our minds like a lousy homemade movie. We feel tempted to throw in the towel, the proverbial towel. But referencing some scripture that best describes much of what we face here and in our three verses that I want to share with you. First is 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11 in the NOG. I don't want Satan to outwit us. After all, we are not ignorant about Satan's scheming. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12 in the Amplified Version, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, contending only with the physical opponents, but against the rulers and against the powers against the world forces of this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in heavenly supernatural places. That's our struggle. It's nothing but the attack of the enemy. And folks, you have the power to take care of that enemy. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 8, be sober, well balanced, and self-disciplined. Be alert and cautious at all times. The enemy of yours, the devil, prowls like a roaring lion, fiercely hungry, seeking someone to devour. As the reference portrays, this inner demon, always lurking, always hanging around, ready to emerge. So we must be sober, vigilant. We must equip ourselves with the arsenal of tools to manage our basement tenant, which is the beast in the basement. We must be well balanced, disciplined, alert, and cautious. If we fail to stay guarded, then this creates the space for us to fail. And we're just about out of time. So here we go. Grief is another area. We feel an actual emotion of not just guilt, but grief, because anytime we lose a loved one in natural death, we go through a grieving process. Why? Because we lost the person we loved dearly. We'll never see them. We'll never talk to them again. We got to wait till we all get to heaven, and that's grief. The same thing happens when we display inappropriate and uncontrolled negative emotions. We are losing our respect. We're losing our dignity. When we act a fool, everybody thinks we're acting a fool, and we lose out. Next is loneliness. When this stuff happens, the beast shows himself, the shapeshifter ambushes us, and we allow it to happen. If we don't address our self-identity, we will start to see an accumulation of toxic elements, damaged relationships, burned bridges, and the list goes on. And then people start distancing ourselves from us, and we start feeling lonely. Exhaustion. Anytime we have an inappropriate outburst, we are exhausted. And then last but not least, believe it or not, humor. I love to make people laugh. I love to tell good jokes, and I love to, see people laugh, all that good stuff. But there's an element of humor that a lot of angry, hurting people use as a self-defense mechanism to hide the pain. If you study, and we're out of time, so we've got to go. But if you will study the biographies of comedians, they become a comedian because they have gone through a traumatic situation. Not everyone, but a lot of those comedians are out there, and they're venting their pain and hurt in a funny way and making people laugh about it. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for joining us on this Memorial Day. And don't forget to remember all those who have sacrificed for us that we might have our freedom. God bless. We'll see you next week.
To find out more about finding that true destination, visit us at truenorthdfw.org.